thank you so much for taking part in today's Most Creative Morning, and happy Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, while I am a graphic artist, my primary passion and profession, as you were told these many years, is public radio. That's a mighty audio-rich medium, but visually, well, it's kind of lacking. So when I venture out into the community to share a story, which I really love to do, I like to leave the slideshow at home and bring on some of that music that truly does make up a big part of my world. Okay, now that is only doable thanks to the wealth of my very special musical connections, like the one I have with my friend Sean Hoffman here. And that brings us to this Creative Mornings topic, which is invest. I didn't bring a slideshow, but that doesn't mean I didn't bring a PowerPoint, because it's behind me. We only need one, because it's all about our community. This is a very inviting and welcoming space, the platform for many things, as you can see, and I'm very happy that it now includes Creative Mornings. It's another special thing, and that's what investing in one's community is all about, I think. The rest of the PowerPoints that I'm going to be sharing with you are really hidden in the content of what I do share. It's just my style to find out what you all feel and you all think. And like Olivia, beginning with a very powerful quote from somebody that impresses us very much, that's kind of what has helped me form my world. And so I'd like to share a lot of that with you today. First of all, I can't begin to tell you what an honor it is to be invited here, to enjoy all your company, which I have been, to see all the familiar faces in the room that I really do know and love, and probably have interacted with sometime or other over the course of our lives. I hope to more as we go along. And most of all, exchange ideas, because that's another important part of investing in our community. The Valentinian energy of the day makes it all the more precious in my heart. Personally, it is a very special time of year for me, and I thank you for that as well, Olivia. Now, I also have to say, good job, Ben, on that manifesto. That was really something. It kind of speaks for what everybody in this room is all about, and I say, good for you. So, first of all, in full disclosure, I have been told that the bulls and the bears on Wall Street had a darn good laugh that could be heard all the way to Jersey when they found out that I was the designated expert on the subject of investing. Here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the chuckle, the ripple effect came all this way. I do hope it didn't shake the whole market up everywhere. I assume it didn't. Not my portfolio anyway. I really must say, my own basically non-material self was pretty amused when I was first invited to do this as well. But the one thing I really do invest in daily and always have is community. And so that's what everything, my thoughts, my heart, my life, and today's pro tips are all about. The greatness of community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members also. That's a priceless bit of wisdom shared with us by Coretta Scott King. And I was born here in Fort Wayne in 1950. And that's a good time to begin a journey like mine, I think. It's a good era, smack in the middle of the baby boom. And I was nurtured with good rootstock and core values that stressed honesty, integrity, hard work, and above all, as we believe here, creativity. If you're familiar with my mantra, or personal investment portfolio, if you will, you already know that I am proud to be a Forthead. I love to tell a good folk tale, and I never met a medium I didn't like. That folktale reference is directly connected with my very first public radio love, which is a weekly show from back in the very early days of WBOI, then WBNI's existence of the same name. So we've been traveling around the world of recorded folk and global music on revolving themes for over 35 years now, exploring common threads that touch the human spirit, hitting on communal activities, character traits, shared emotions, and myriad aspects of daily life, and that's, again, what community is all about. The show itself continues to grow in value, being syndicated nationally and on global streaming services through the public radio exchange, I'm proud to say. Now, the mediums that I mention, they do tend to cover and embrace just about every end of every spectrum you can think of. If I had to play my favorites, well, artistically I am an illustrator, and I do enjoy working on non-conventional surfaces, large and small format, everything in between, with dedicated minors in photography and semi-painting, and textile arts. But otherwise, music is the most powerful means of expression to me. And it really does rock my world. It rules my world. It rolls my world. Pretty much no genre left behind. And I really firmly believe that through music we can best understand and respect the peoples of the world. We don't have to know their language yet or their philosophy yet. We can hear a lot of that in their music, and it can touch our soul. And that brings us to the Valentinian sentiment of this day, speaking of touching one's soul and connecting and investing, and the universal language of love, which leads us to a great thought by American professor and the master of the power of myth, that's Joseph Campbell. He maintained that love is friendship sent to music. So on that great big insider tip, we're going to invest wisely now in one of Sean's wonderful traditional songs. It's called Times Are Not What They Used to Be.
Times are not what they used to be. There's trouble all the time, but no one knows the inward grief of my poor troubled mind. Well, I know my mother loved me well. My father treated me kind, but for your sake I'll go with you and leave them both behind. Oh, times are not what they used to be. There's trouble all the time, and no one knows the inward grief of my poor troubled mind. I wish my breast was made of glass, wherein you might behold upon my heart your name. Oh, times are not what they used to be. There's trouble all the time, and no one knows the inward grief of my poor troubled mind.
Oh, yeah. In case you hadn't thought about this before, one of the best and easiest and most painless ways to invest in one's community is by being a good audience, and thank you for that.
Really nice.
Thank you.
I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. Now, I didn't say that. George Bernard Shaw did. But it truly resonates deep within my genetic makeup, I assure you, and it's a great motivational force to be reckoned with. It's another one of those thoughts that it pays to remember and take along with you. The act of volunteering really is a high-yield investment in my mind. I cannot stress that enough. And it never loses value. On my own, first official go at it was back in high school at Miss Virginia's house. How many of you are familiar with Miss Virginia? And thank you for that. The time I was volunteering, which was back in the 60s, it was run out of her home in one of the toughest parts of the town for many years, and she served dozens, if not hundreds of people every day who would help with the donations that were brought in there, and then, of course, take as they needed as well. And her legacy and mission is still going strong today, thanks to a lot of the whole town, I would say. And Tony Henry is very, very active in keeping that running. So yeah, I would shout out to him always. She remains a big local shero because of all of that, to many people, myself included. You know, really, donating my time and creativity as well as money, it gives me a joy and a singular satisfaction that sort of has to be experienced to be understood, I think. And I'm sure you can relate to that. I hope all of you can relate to that. I can't tell you what your sweet spot is, but you know you have them. And if you haven't really entered into the big world of volunteering, it's in a way a selfish thing to do, because again, you are investing in the soundness of your own community. So many of my most prized accomplishments, art-centric and otherwise, have been achieved in that capacity. And another bit of transparency here, both WBOI's Folktales and WBOI's Meet the Music, and that show draws listeners and performers, of course, locally and regionally, also nationally and sometimes internationally. Those are pet volunteer projects of mine, and I specifically keep them in that status every day of my life to advocate for the importance and validity of volunteerism. Another way of investing in one's community is by the simple little examples of everyday life that you do, and you think it might not make a difference, and you think maybe nobody notices, and maybe nobody notices, but it does make a difference, to be sure. According to American author, spiritual leader, and activist Marianne Williamson, In every community, there is work to be done. In every nation, there are wounds to heal. In every heart, there is the power to do it. Now, unfortunately, getting individuals to invest their me time in worthy causes, especially in this 21st century, isn't always easy. And honestly, it's not always in fashion. Though the growing needs and social disparity of this century aren't going away anytime soon, and some people do believe they're getting worse, and there are more large-scale things from ecology to poverty to new problems to such a dissatisfaction and a depression that sees the whole world before you know it, that we can do so much to change if we act together on it. I do look forward to talking with some of you after this talk one-on-one, or some other time if it doesn't happen today, about your pet projects and networks, as well as mentioning some of my favorites, because keeping the flame alive of volunteering and paying it forward, paying it backward, however way you want to interpret it in your soul, the more you give to your community, the better your community is, the more it's going to give back to you, the more it's going to be there for the future too. I know that seems so basic, but it is at the core of everything. And meanwhile, even though we live in a world of unprecedented technological wonder, and generally speaking, lots of free time, that double-edged sword of social media joins and isolates us with equal intensity, making the need to be heard and to share one's story more pressing than ever before. Now, this is a recurring topic in all of my arts and culture interviews these days, it seems like, and again, I have talked with a lot of you folks over the microphone. If I haven't yet, I hope to one day, because everybody really does have a story to tell. The paying job in my life, by the way, is the arts and culture reporting. I'm gratified to see that public storytelling is trending now, because I think it's a wonderful idea. I'm also kind of slightly amused because I've been doing that very old-fashioned thing over the airwaves since, for 3 decades now, and I hope to continue on. I don't know if it'll be 3 more decades, but it'll be a while, I hope. So, regardless of your time frame or perspective, here's the thing. We cannot look and live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow man. Now that is very sound advice from the great 19th century Renaissance author Herman Melville, who's probably best known for his magnum opus Moby Dick. And there are timeless points in every world. That is certainly one of them. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men. That's a tapestry. Many other analogies you could give, but that is a timeless truth. And while we are spanning the centuries and surfing the mediums, here's some original musical wisdom that comes from Sean's heart and guitar directly to your ears. It's a timeless, down-home celebration of life's ups and downs, as he calls it, another time around.
Time now, going downtown, gonna see my baby, kiss her kissing and a hugging and all kinds of loving underneath the midnight moon. We'll be dancing and singing and kicking our heels to a pretty little fiddle tune, a fiddle tune, pretty little fiddle tune. Play that fiddle tune, I'll be dancing with you round the room. Lost some friends and an old girlfriend, not a lot you can do. You can plant a tree or drink whiskey, but they're never coming back to you. Now life goes on like a sad old song, and the leaves fall from the trees. Gotta stick together in any kind of weather, and remember the ones who leave, the ones who leave, leave. Remember the ones who leave, please, love, please. Gotta get me up off of my knees. Hold you tight in the old firelight, and we'll listen to the coyotes sing. Swimming in the river and walking in the meadow, we'll listen to the mountains ring. We'll till this land with our own two hands, there'll be chickens and kids in the yard. Sisters and brothers chasing each other all around this old farm, this old farm, all around this old farm. You know there ain't no harm growing up on this old farm.
So, if you haven't noticed by now, another fun fact, I'd really rather talk about someone else besides myself. That's another reason I brought him along. My dear friend Shawn Michael is not only an incredible multi-instrumentalist, which he's been proving this morning, he's also a helpless sucker for worthy causes. That's akin to my own soul, and I think that's why we get along so well. Ben Clemmer, I gotta give a shout out to him too, because he's that way at work. He's my anchor there. Shawn and I work together on many a project. Most of them are musical, like the monthly kind of Celtic concert series he put together for J.K. O'Donnell's Irish Ale House, and we're working on these days. I'm proud to be the MC there. Now, meanwhile, his paying job, besides music making, which he does well with in town and on tour, is teaching English as a second language just up the avenue here at Fairfield Elementary, and that happens to be one of the city's neediest schools. So this is one of my favorite folk tales. Shawn's heart is very, very big and kind and loving, and his passion for preserving all kinds of music, but especially American fiddle music, is really something fierce. So when he found a closet full of broken down violins at the school a few years ago, Shawn begged permission to repair everything he could. They suggested he send them to the school. It's a public school, it's within the public school system, and they have their own repair people, and Shawn knew that if they sent them there, they would never come back because they were in too bad of shape. That's where they're stuck in the closet to begin with. He got them out, he dusted them off, he repaired enough, couple dozen of them, and he decided to bring a little music back into an environment where music programs were being slashed to the bone, and most kids at that school simply didn't have the luxury of music lessons or instruments, or someone to encourage them to do so. Okay, so it couldn't happen during the school day, but Shawn and this eager bunch of children met 2 days a week after school, with the support of their parents, and many of them are single, working moms and dads, so that wasn't always easy. Sean drummed up a recruit there at the school to help him out. And that Fairfield Falcon Fiddle Club, as they are now known around the local music scene, are investing in their own musical futures. And the ones of the kids that are coming up at that school, following them, by the time they all move on to middle school, they are musicians, and it's really something wonderful. You can catch them at the annual Fame Festival each year on the soundstage. I think at least one of the kids in his program, while he was still in 4th or 5th grade, started composing his own music. And I'm proud to say we get them on the Meet the Music's soundstage every year as well. They'll be in to see us next month, and you'll be hearing it probably sometime late April, early May. So once again, I'd like to say, I can't tell you all the ways you can make a difference, all the ways you should invest in your community, but I can tell you how wonderful it is to do so, and I can thank you for what you do and encourage you to do more, because everybody can always do more, I think, and the world needs it. Now, once again, I'd like to thank all of you for celebrating this special day in this very, very creative way. I'd like to thank Olivia and everybody within Creative Mornings at the mothership in New York City and around the world for doing what you do and investing in our community and helping us do the same. Because my community connections are my riches, I believe. They're truly the most important and valuable thing I have. I truly can't believe my good fortune every day of my life. And speaking of community connections, as Daniel told you all earlier, I am very pleased to be right here on this clubroom stage at the invitation of Greg Coyle and with the help of Daniel and Rachel. And they're real sweethearts. We're going to be sharing a world of good music every Friday night, including tonight. It's Planet Love Song we're visiting tonight. Now, meanwhile, I'm going to let Sean give you the best of goodbyes on this Valentine's Day with his clever tale of how to turn an unsound romantic investment into, well, a land of gold. But first, just as Napoleon Hill set the investment world on fire with his Think and Grow Rich pointers back in 1937, here are 3 last thoughts I guarantee you can take to the bank. And I also guarantee I'm not going to do any more dumb puns on the investment lingo, but I could, just so you know. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. That's Mother Teresa. For our own success to be real, it must contribute to the success of others. That's Eleanor Roosevelt. And the very bottom line, with lots of love from Maya Angelou, nothing will work unless you do. Be well, invest wisely. Sean Michael Hoffman, in a land of gold. Thank you so much.
I lost enough to keep me here tonight. Tonight I'm going northbound with the skies so clear and cold. Tonight I'm going northbound to that land of gold. Beneath the lights of northern nights, the huskies sing their songs. But solitude ain't loneliness upon this mountain top, where the stars they shine and the wind she blows outside my cabin door. And the fireside is safe and warm and keeps me from the cold. Tonight I'm going northbound with the skies so clear and cold. Tonight I'm going northbound to that land of gold. Then came the springtime of the year and time to go to town. I hitched my dogs up to their sleds and it's down the mountain bound, where the way gets steep and dangerous was with ice and treachery. And I think of the lowland girl I loved since the night that she left me. Tonight I'm going northbound with the skies so clear and cold. Tonight I'm going northbound to that land of gold. So come on, you brave Alaskan men, come take a word by me. Don't love no pretty fair-haired girls from the lowlands by the sea. They'll leave you alone, run away from your home when the icy winds do blow. And the darkness breathes through the old spruce trees and the sun is sinking low. Tonight I'm going northbound with the skies so clear and cold. Tonight I'm going northbound to that land of gold. Tonight I'm going northbound with the skies so clear and cold. Tonight I'm going northbound to that land of gold. Yes, to that land of gold. Yes, to that land of gold.
All right, guys, one more round of applause for Julia Meek. We are coming up